Hey guys, I am back with a new video today. I am finally here with my MMO tier list of 2020 of free-to-play MMORPGs. As you guys know, I only post MMORPGs mobile on my YouTube channel, and I know how MMORPGs works, which ones are good, which ones aren't that great. And I've been testing out a lot of different MMOs to give you guys a better perspective on these different games, and hopefully I can give you guys a guidance on which game to play, especially in these quarantine times. Which game you guys can check out and play and enjoy. So before we get into this video, guys, if you guys don't agree with me, let me know in the comments below. Remember, this is my opinion of the tier list, and if I didn't include your games, let me know in the comments. I will try to update these tier lists more frequently because games change over time, and some might drop from good to lower tiers later on. So I'll make it an updated tier list, and I will include newer games. So let me know in the comments below. So let's get right into this. Make sure you guys follow my socials below, and make sure you guys subscribe if you guys want to see more content. Let's get right into it. Now, I have around 30 games. It's going to take a while, so you guys just sit down and relax, and let's just get right into these games. Now, as you guys can see, my tier list is ranked from good to decent, plus decent, meh, and bad. Now, mainly I will be putting typical MMOs that everybody are releasing these days that include the same thing on meh, and then some are like really bad, and then I will see which MMOs. There's some MMOs that are special and have some innovation in them, and that those will go higher on the tier list. So let's get right into it, and let's start with a game everybody's common with, especially on my channel, which is Order and Chaos Online. So first of all, we're going to start with Order and Chaos Online. Now, Order and Chaos Online does not receive any updates anymore. It is a game that has been abandoned by the devs. It struggles a little bit with maintenance, but this game includes a lot of content for new players if they want to check it out. Unfortunately, there's a lot of bugs and glitches with this game. However, it did really great back in the day. It probably is the best MMO that was ever released on iOS and Android. It's really unfortunate that they ditched this game, and but the community is really loyal to this game, and you see a lot of people playing it from time to time. It includes everything. It has good PvP, it has good PvE, a lot of dungeons, probably 50, 30, 40 different dungeons in different normal and dungeons legendary modes. A lot of different bosses that require strategy. There's no guide to everything, so you have to figure everything out yourself. Mount catching, like events, vanities, outfits, it has everything. Now, back in the day, it would be on good, but right now I will have to place it on meh because of all the bugs and glitches, and that it doesn't receive updates anymore. But it's a fun play if you want to check it out. Now let's move on to Order and Chaos Online's big brother. Okay, I will say little brother because Order and Chaos 2, however, it looks better, graphics are better, it has a better engine, but it didn't quite live up to the hype of Order and Chaos Online. They didn't have the Holy Trinity tank heal DPS, which was a big letdown for a lot of healers that love to heal in Order and Chaos Online. They had like a monk style, military monk style healer instead. And the dungeons weren't that hard. They were really easy. There was guides on all of them. It was easy to conquer the dungeons and complete them. The PvP, however, was fun. There was some good battlefield PvP going on, but there was no exact 3v3, 2v2. But they released it now very recently. Okay, not recently, like a year or two ago. But again, this game also doesn't receive a lot of updates, the content updates. They get like mount companion updates. But it seems like they're just milking the player base, but they also have a very loyal player base. They have some cool flying mounts, and the graphics are just amazing. So I will also place this on meh. You guys are like, you're saying so much good stuff about the game. I'm trying to explain the game for you guys so you guys can know more about it and then give my honest opinion. But since when the developers just give up on the game, it's not fun playing the game anymore. You want to have dedicated developers on the game that you're enjoying that receive like new content and new updates that are taking care of their game. Now, I'm gonna talk about Order and Chaos Classic. If you guys don't know, there's like an APK version of Order and Chaos where there's no like dev. There's some guy that made it through Amazon, and it's basically like the level 70 cap of Order and Chaos Online, and you can grind it like for fun, for chill, and has a lot of bugs in it, but I prefer this version over the normal Order and Chaos Online. It's less pay to win, it's more fun, and you don't feel like stressed to be able to be competing with everybody. You can take everything at your own pace, and there's so many people helping out in this classic version. We call it classic. It's not really classic, but it's just like a few updates before the original Order and Chaos, and it's Order and Chaos Online. I'll call it classic, but I'll put it on decent because it's a fun play, and there's less bugs than the Order and Chaos Online, and you don't have to pay to win or anything. You can just play it at your own pace, which makes it a lot of fun. Now that is the Order and Chaos Online. All of these 3 games, it's really unfortunate that the developers dropped them. These games were, when they came out, they were on top of the chain. It was the best MMOs out there, but now there's a lot of new MMOs, so let's get right into the next one. Now the next one I want to talk about is Black Desert Mobile. Now Black Desert Mobile is really it's really huge when it comes to mobile. Like everybody's played it. There's so many players playing it today, and it came out with insane graphics. The autoplay function, I really enjoyed it, because it's a mobile game in the end of the day, and it was really convenient to play it as a mobile player. The character will play itself, or you could play it yourself, and they had a lot of classes, and their developers and community managers are super engaged with the game, which makes it really fun and really enjoyable experience to actually play it and find guides and so on. It's a really huge game. They have a lot of good classes. They have good PvP. They have decent PvE. The only thing I don't like is that they don't really have any raids. This game has so much potential to have like massive raids, but they kind of dropped the ball on that. So in my opinion, this game, I will place it on decent. It is really nice looking, really nice to play as a mobile player, but it is lacking on a lot. It's super, like, it is pay to win, lacking on the raid functions, and it just feels like it's too much AFK. Like, it's good for mobile players, but for some, in my opinion, I think it's too much AFK. I had more joy playing it AFK on auto than actually playing the game, so I will put it on the decent. Now let's move on to the next one. Let's look at one game that I played probably the longest, or one of the longest, which is, where is it? I can't really find it right now. It's Crusaders of Light. Crusaders of Light, when it came out, still to this day, was super unique. It is probably the best MMORPG, which includes raiding. Raiding was huge in Crusaders of Light. Did an amazing job. It also was probably the first one that released like massive 40v40 battlefields, guild versus guilds, and so on, massive raid parties. Until this day, I actually played it a few months ago, raiding, and it still is, in my opinion, the best game when it comes to raiding. Unfortunately, it has lost some population. It's not as active as it used to be. It is super hard to catch up as a new player, but there's so many raids that you can do as a new player in this game, and so many unique unique raids that you can join in with your friends or your friend group and play. So this game had a lot of potential. It was some bugs here and there that messed the game up and made it lose a lot of population, but to this day it has the most difficult raids, requires the most coordination between players. So I would put this still on decent plus, not on good, unfortunately, because the lack of population, but it's really unique. It looks really good too. Yeah, I mean, not much more I can say about it. They had really good events, but it's just lack of population that makes it unattractive. But it did have a lot of potential, and it lived up to some of it. But these days, the players don't stay with the game too long, especially mobile MMOs, unless it's really, really good. And it was really good, but just not really, really good. And it has some problems. Now, that was Crusaders of Light, decent plus. Now let's move on to, let's do Dragon Raja. A lot of people have been playing Dragon Raja. I played it a lot at the start when it released. Firstly, my YouTube channel was hacked and I was getting it recovered, so I wasn't able to make content for you guys. I was streaming it a bunch though, but I wasn't able to make any YouTube videos on it, unfortunately. But Dragon Raja was a nice breath of fresh air. Is that what it's called? Yes. Now, it came out, it looks really good. Like, some people don't like that kind of animation. I really liked it. It looked really cool. It was so much, this game had so much. It has super nice classes. They kind of had, not really had like the Holy Trinity, but not really. There was like tank DPS, DPSs, heal DPS, not really like the Holy Trinity. However, the dungeons were super hard. I really enjoyed it. They had some really good fun PvP. You could do 1v1 PvP, 2v2 PvP, 5v5, battlefields, cool events like car races, cooking, fishing, all kind of stuff. They had literally everything you can ask for, fun guild activities and so on. However, it did again lack on the raid part, and it felt more like, super pay to win, especially in the start. It could be players that could be one-shotting something where you had to like struggle to get through, which wasn't fun. But it had that little like feel to it. Like, they did a really good job in making it felt really polished, really clean. So I'm gonna put this not on man, I'm gonna put it on decent. It's a fun game to play. It has a really fun storyline, and you could choose your own path in the storyline kind of. So it's a fun game to play. And, but if you're gonna play it hardcore, it's just not worth playing it in my opinion. But it's definitely worth checking out. It's a really new game too, so it's gonna keep getting updates for a long time. Now let's move on to World of Kings, guys. World of Kings. Kind of mixed feelings about World of Kings. Last time I put it on the top tier list with Crusaders of Light. However, World of Kings, since the 3.0 update came, it's become more and more pay to win. The classes aren't as balanced as they used to be. When World of Kings came out, I knew that this game was going to be amazing. That's why I played it for a long time. It had some really fun, cool raids, 25-man raids, still has to this day. And they really focus on the hard content, delivering the hard content back in the day. And they had 30 different classes, and all of them felt balanced. So it was really well polished. There was no big problems or issues with the game. It felt like they thought about everything before they released it. However, later and later down the road, it just became more and more pay to win, less frequent updates. Things got less challenging, and now at this day, it's just raids at this point. There's no more fun. Everything feels like dailies and grinding and there's no really hard content. The classes aren't that balanced anymore, but it is unique when it comes to the raiding and the coordination you need for the raids. And some of the dungeons are still hard, and there's a little bit of PvP here and there. So I have some guild. They had really fun guild sieges, I must say. They did a really great job on that. So I will put it on decent plus for now. Maybe later this time, maybe on the later tier list, it might drop even more, or maybe they release a really cool update and it might increase in tier list. Who knows? But I put it at decent plus for now. Now, so let's move on to Era of Legends. Era of Legends was a game I played between Crusaders of Light and World of Kings for a little while. I made some videos on it, and this game was fun. It wasn't too attractive when it comes to graphics, but it was a fun game. They had some good type of heal classes. Tank was the whole, like, you had the tank, healer, DPS. Really fun classes. Most of them felt very balanced. What this game did really good job at was the raids were fun. Not too hard, but not too bad either. It was like a fun experience. The PvP was really nice. They gave good rewards for PvP champions. They had balanced PvP. And what I really liked about it, it was completely balanced. You could choose what class you want to play when you chose PvP balance. You didn't have to play the class you were yourself. You could play any class you wanted. It had really fun PvP, a good experience in that game. Just overall a great experience. Had some fun. I played in American servers. I wasn't able to compete in do all the events, but it was a fun experience. The population isn't that high again anymore. They released a Steam version, but definitely worth checking it out. The only thing I can say about it is it did become a little pay to win, and it did become a little repetitive, and the raids weren't that hard. However, also that it was race bound, the classes, so you couldn't really choose what race you want to be, which is a big turnoff, especially in today's like MMO market. But I will put Era of Legends definitely a decent plus with the other Will of Kings and Crusaders of Light. Now, before I keep going, I want to give you guys an opinion. Like, I enjoy mainly hard PvE content. A lot of MMOs, on mobile especially, doesn't have good PvP anymore. So if I see an MMO and I don't see hard PvE content, I would just think that it's any other MMO. But like Black Desert, for example, they have good PvP. However, it is gear based, so it will get destroyed by whales. That's why I like Era of Legends. Having that balanced PvP makes it fun. I think Crusaders of Light also had a balanced PvP mode, but nobody almost played PvP in Crusaders of Light. Instead, it goes for World of Kings. But let's move on to the next game. The next game I want to talk about is Perfect World. Now, Perfect World is not perfect. Sorry, I had to do it, guys. But it came out a little bit after World of Kings. It's getting updates to this day. It has cool features, it has some fun dungeons, has some fun PvP in there. There's a lot of like this marriage system, new classes that they release, faction systems. I made a couple of videos on it. It looks really good. Like as a game, it looks really beautiful. Graphics are really nice. The gameplay feels really smooth. And they did release some raids later, but it just felt like it had everything, but everything lacked a little bit too. So it was like it had a lot of content. It still has to this day, but it just didn't feel like complete. It's hard to explain, but it does have everything. But I just felt like it was lacking in like the dungeons were a bit lacking, the PvP was a little bit lacking, raids were a little bit lacking, but it did have everything. So if you wanted to raid, if you wanted to dungeon, if you wanted to PvP, if you wanted to do events, I think some classes could even catch pets. Like they had a little bit of everything. So I would put this on decent. Perfect World. Let's move on to the next one. I'm not even halfway yet. This list is gonna be massive. Now I want to go back in time a little bit. We're gonna talk about a little bit of old games, and I want to bring up Adventure Quest 3D. Now I played Adventure Quest 3D recently, and this is a really old game. There's no autoplay in it. They do have dungeons, they have raids. The population is, depending on the server, it's okay, but it's just super grindy, super old school. I really liked and really enjoyed it. There was no like pay to win in it. Just mainly costumes and some classes you can unlock with money. It's just like the old school. The graphics aren't that great, obviously, because it's an old game and it's really grindy. But overall, fun experience. They have a bunch of classes you can choose between, and I really enjoy playing it. I might get back into it. They even have a Steam version, I heard, about this game, and it's completely like free to play game. Just grindy, and you can play with your friends, and just feels like a real MMO experience. But I'm gonna put that on decent plus with the other games. And now it isn't as amazing looking as the others, but it's just that core passion, you know, the core MMO style of game that I really enjoyed with Adventure Quest 3D. Now let's move on to the next game. I want to talk about this game right here, 12 Sky. I actually made a video on this. I don't know if you guys checked it out, but this game is the worst game I have ever played in my life on iOS and Android. It's pretty new. Everything felt clunky. It was race bound classes. Graphics were terrible. Everything, like, it was, I don't even know like what they were thinking releasing it. I heard that they just released a really old PC MMO just on iOS and Android without doing any changes. So not much more I can say about it. It's going straight to the bad tier off the bat. Now let's move on to, let's go back in time again. Oh, real back in time. what they call old school RuneScape. Now RuneScape, if you guys have been watching my streams, you guys will know I talked a lot about RuneScape. RuneScape is one of my favorite games. However, what I didn't like when it came to iOS and Android was that it was cross-platform with PC. Obviously it was to keep the population up, but I wish that everybody just start from scratch on iOS and Android. But RuneScape is a phenomenal game if you can enjoy it. It is tap to move, but it is completely free to play. They have the subscription model, but everything is just a fun experience. I love RuneScape. PKing is amazing. The exploring, the leveling up your skills, choosing what to do. Overall, just a super fun experience game. Like to experience and play for fun or play hardcore. You can do both. And I think they're releasing the new RuneScape 2 on iOS and Android soon. I think they're in beta on Android. However, definitely worth checking out if you can get into the graphics or if you can get into the gameplay. It's a really fun experience. I will put that on good for iOS and Android. Now let's go on to the next game, which is Rangers of Oblivion. Now Rangers of Oblivion, when it came out, it was unique. It was the monster hunter type game where you go into instances, you hunt monsters with your friends, and a fun experience. They had some good fun classes to play. I really enjoyed the game when it came out, but it was really like, it became super pay to win. To enter instances, you needed tickets, where you had to buy everything gear wise. You could buy tournaments and stuff, you had to pay to win. Everything was just super like, and they didn't release new content, they didn't release any like big raids or anything. It was just the same thing over and over again. It became super repetitive. It was super unique at the start, but on today's day it just became meh. But it was a really fun game at the start when it came out. It was super unique. They had super high potential. It could have been like good game today if they delivered it right. Maybe Rangers of Oblivion 2, huh? We'll see. Let's go to a game that is not globally launched yet, but I actually played a little bit, so I'm going to include some games that are like almost about to globally launch, but you can actually play, which is Naruto. Naruto Slugfest. I made a video on it. It seems like a lot of people enjoyed it. Now Naruto Slugfest actually like was fun to play. Again, the character customization and everything isn't that great, but what makes this game unique is that they were able to make a game based on an anime and actually make a decent MMO out of it. Like you can't auto in dungeons was super fun. Or there's some PvP later on and some good character customization. They can change your outfits and so on when it comes out. So I don't know too much about it, but from what I know and seen so far and played so far, I would definitely put it on the decent genre, and I would definitely check it out when it finally globally releases on iOS and Android. It should be any second, but if you want to play it, you can, but with an APK. Now, let's talk about the game Shattered Legends. So Shattered Legends, you guys seen the ad everywhere. You know, it's not that great that people say it is. It's the game, the fun experience, you know, but it is energy based, and I don't even know, like it's overly advertised, so they don't bad. I'm sorry, Shattered. Love you guys, but when it comes to like an MMO, like if you want to deliver a proper MMO, it's not the way to go. Super pay to win and super energy based. And second you add energy into MMO, it's just that I don't know about that one, you know. Just not the wave. Now let's look at just a lot of options I see. Now we can talk about Lineage 2 Revolution. Lineage 2 Revolution came out a while ago. It had a lot of classes. It was like they had like the type of realistic graphic type. It came up. Everybody knows the Lineage genre. They're releasing new Lineage to this day, but it had like, when it comes to massive PvP fights, games were already delivering. Like Crusaders of Light had it, and it wasn't unique in any way. It was like 2D. You couldn't move while attacking, which was super turn off, and but it did have a lot of PvP options when it came to the game, and they had a lot of like classes. I think it was the first mobile game that delivered with so many classes and customization. But It was a decent game, still is in my opinion. However, it is pay to win and it's not that easy to get into. And it's just more of a like people who enjoy PvP type of game. Like there's not too much PvE content you can actually enjoy, and not being able to move while attack. Actually, I'm gonna put it on meh. Like the whole thing of not being able to move while you attack makes no sense. Like it takes so much skill away, in my opinion, from mobile for PvE and PvP, and it's just not welcome in like mobile game. I don't understand why games do that, not being able to move while attacking. Now, let's talk about Dawn of Isle. Now, I played Dawn of Isle recently. It was a fun experience. I actually enjoyed playing it and having fun with it. Dawn of Isle is an MMO that is very unique in its way. It's based on like building your home, crafting mainly, gathering resources. It does have some clan PvP, people say, which is really fun. However, it's really hard for new people to start and get into it. It takes a while to, it's really grindy. You have to gather materials and craft. It's more of a like people that enjoy that type of stuff, crafting and grinding and wood cutting and mining and just building your base from scratch. So it's that type of game, and super unique, but hard to get into. I will definitely put it on decent because they're able to deliver a different type of MMO than most MMOs are out there today. Now the next one I want to talk about is Axe. Now, Axe came out also a while ago now. Axe wasn't like, it was just okay and everything. Like I didn't find anything unique with it. It had like the dungeons, had the PvP, but that was it. It has some, like there was nothing special. The PvP wasn't mind-blowing. They didn't have like a good ranking system. It still does until this day. They didn't have too much in their PvE section too. It was just like an meh game overall, but it was a fun, like, I mean, it wasn't even fun, like it was just auto. I was just autoing in this game, and I just didn't feel the Axe Alliance and Empire vibe basically, but it had good potential, but they just weren't able to deliver on their potential. Now the next game I want to talk about is Tales of Wind. Now Tales of Wind, I recently checked it out. It's like a 2D type of game. It's really animated, and it has a lot of different class options on the game. It has like the Holy Trinity and everything, and it was like a fun experience playing it. I enjoyed it. I heard though that it becomes super pay to win like later in the game, but it's like a fun experience, just leveling up and gearing. It gives me like the Ragnarok type vibe, and in my opinion, I could potentially see me like having fun playing it and gearing up in it and just grinding it. I think it's no auto in this too, so I would definitely put it on decent. It's like a different type of game. If you guys like that type of art style and everything, I definitely would give it yeah, definitely would check it out as a, but it is 2D and it is like different type of animation. I don't know if most people enjoy it or not. You guys probably know about Ragnarok, is that type of animation on it, but I could see me playing it. However, I heard that it is dominated by whales though later in the game if you want to compete with it. That is Tales of Wind. I'm gonna try to keep a little bit the game's a little bit shorter now, since you guys probably don't want to watch the 2-hour video. So let's get right into the next one. Is one I really enjoyed. I played it recently. I had super fun actually playing it, and I want to play it more. It's called Villager and Heroes. Villager and Heroes is a game that should be probably, or is, I think is one of the best MMOs on mobile today. It gets updated. It is super, like, it has some character customization. It has a lot of classes that you can choose between at the start, and it is like the grindy MMO. There's no auto in it. You grind, you fight dungeons, you fight raid bosses. Although I heard a lot of people don't do the raid bosses anymore because they're super challenging, which is the fun part, and they're not that rewarding. But super challenging, super grindy and fun experience. There's no PP, I heard, but overall it's a really fun game, and I would definitely see me grind some more of it. It's really old school graphics again. It's not as good looking as the newer games, but it is the MMO, like, is the typical, if you think about MMO, it's exactly that. It's like the grindy, you grind your character slowly, you have the different classes that you can play, heal, tank, DPS, range DPS, and so on. Super grindy, you just grind all your way up to beat world bosses, beat dungeons, do raids, and so on. So definitely worth checking out this game. I'm not sure how the population is these days, but I really enjoyed playing it, so I would definitely give it a go if you guys want to. That is Villagers and Heroes. Now I want to talk about a game that I did play a little bit. It's called Dragon Revolt. Dragon Revolt came out a long time ago. It was a fun, like back in the day, like all these MMOs that came out were like, oh my god, this game looks good. Oh my god, this looks good. Dragon Revolt was exactly that. Oh my god, it looks good. It has some good faction PvPs, but that was about it. It was main dungeons and everything, and the faction PvP was fun, but again, it got dominated by people that spent a lot of money, and the graphics weren't that great. They were like decent when it came out, so it's a whole lot of meh, in my opinion. They had some cool looking mounts, so I'm not gonna lie. The dragons in that game looked amazing. They had some two-headed dragons and stuff. The mount did look good, but it was really like pay to win type of game, unfortunately. Now let's move on to the next one, which is World of Prandis. Now I played World of Prandis, I think it's one of my newest videos, and this game was actually a fun experience. Like, it didn't look the great, it's a really old type of game, but it has some good classes. All the Holy Trinity that you're used to, the tank class, they have some faction, there's some good faction wars in there, but it's super hard for new players to actually play because you get ganked in the PvP when you hit level 40, the PvP side, by factions. But I feel like that's like the beauty of the game, like the PvP style, the world PvP and everything, and I really liked it. It was like a fun experience overall, and I enjoyed playing. I don't think there's auto in this game too, so really fun experience. Again, I don't know if people will like this art style, but the UI wasn't that cluttered like most MMOs, and it just seems like a fun experience. There was dungeons, there's raids, there's world PvP, there's PvP game modes versus each other like Battlefield and other stuff, and definitely worth checking out if you guys want to. I don't know how good the population is on this game, but we'll definitely put it on, I'm not sure, decent or decent plus actually. I haven't played it enough. I think if I can play it enough, I might be able to put it on decent plus, but for now I'm gonna put it on decent. Maybe like a decent, between decent and decent plus maybe, you know, if there's something right there. But I had like, it was a fun experience for me, to be honest, like checking it out and playing it. Let's go into the next game, which is Albion Online. Now, Albion Online is an old game, and it's very like heavy PvP based. I think the economy is very player oriented, like player driven, like players craft and sell and auction away the items, and it's really hard to get into for a new player. It's like a sandbox type, and the PvP areas consist of like big zergs that fight, and the big guilds and clans are like taking over, so if you're not in them, it's really hard to like play and have fun in. But I actually always want to actually get into this game, but I never did. It's really like heavy world PvP based, and unique in its own way. It does have some dungeons and instances. It gets some updates here and there still to this day, so definitely worth checking out. And also in this game, there's no like classes and stuff. It's all depends on the equipment you wear and the gear you wear, so it's unique in that type of their like gameplay style basically. Now let's go into the next game, that is Blade and Soul Revolution. Blade and Soul Revolution isn't globally launched yet. They released an English version, and I checked it out actually. I actually enjoyed playing it a little bit. It looked like the typical bad MMO when it first came out. Like, I didn't like the, you know, when the bosses have like X100 and you have to keep going. Never liked the appeal, and the combo system, I didn't like the appeal, but the dungeons were actually challenging. The PvP was actually fun. I wasn't that good because it based on your gear, and they have super hard raids that have like prestige systems. Once you reach a certain level, you can prestige and you can keep leveling again, and you can level like several levels. Just a fun experience to play, but nothing like super unique with it or anything. It's just like a decent MMO worth checking out when it finally comes on their global release. Other than that, yeah, it's just like it's just a good fun experience. Definitely worth checking out. I enjoyed it playing it, and I wish I got to the highest like raid level to actually try raids. I heard the raids are super hard in it, so I don't know, but I would like maybe probably like enjoy this game. Now move on to the next game called Eternal Sword Mobile. Eternal Sword Mobile is a pretty new game, got globally launched a couple months ago. This game is, oh my god, why do companies make these games? It's just like a money grab game, nothing unique with it, just okay, nothing to say about it. Looked super pay to win, the gameplay didn't feel nice, and nothing felt smooth with it. It was just like an okay, alright game. So I would just put, it's just like a typical meh MMO, like all the other MMOs, nothing unique with it. So I'm gonna put it on meh for now. Maybe in the future this game will deliver or do something better, but I highly doubt it. It's just like a typical MMO that they releases, autoplay, VIP system, and so on. Yeah. Now I want to talk about Dragoness and World of Dragoness at the same time. I put Dragoness here. Probably updated the World of Dragoness. Dragoness is, if you guys are used to Dragoness gameplay, it's mainly like that type of gameplay. You have like 4 starting classes, action, combat, like oriented system. Has the Dragoness world, which is nice. If you guys played the Dragoness, they call it Saga on the PC. Yeah, just 4 classes, the typical warrior, like tank, archer, cleric, sorcerer, mage. Good multiplayer modes. They have like, you can join guilds and multiplayer dungeons and PP against other people in arena. I haven't played too much of the game myself, but I think it's the population is really low on this game now, and they did release World of Dragoness, and it just like, it's nothing unique with this game, and it is pretty old school. So I'm gonna put it on the meh tier list. Now let's talk about Celtic Heroes. Now Celtic Heroes 3D, I recently played and I actually found it super fun. It's again this classical MMO type game. It's out from 2011, and it has like the different classes, the Holy Trinity on tank, healer, DPS, like classical grind. You just grind up, have fun. It's really like similar to like Adventure Quest 3D and Villager Heroes. Like it's just an old school grindy game. Honestly, if you guys want to check out like the old school type of game, MMO type, any of these 3, I will put this on Decent Plus, but any of these 3 games, Villagers Heroes, Adventure Quest 3D, Celtic Heroes 3D, they're all good. They're all good, grindy, fun games that you can play and have fun with and enjoy. Have some good dungeons and good grinding. It's super grindy, of course. So if you want to check it out, whichever appeal to you more. But I don't see much difference in them. They're just like the old school type games that you can play, super grindy, super fun experience, and maybe like play with your friends. I think it's one Eponia, I think, server which is active on Celtic Heroes if you guys want to choose a server to go to on this game. Now we have 4 left, and let's talk about Ragnarok Mobile. Ragnarok Mobile, this is the first one. It came out with a new one recently. Ragnarok is it's grindy game. It is very pay to win later in this game, but it is its own type of like style wise, it's its own type of game. Like if you guys play the Ragnarok genre, it's like you don't have too many skills. I think skills are based on the weapon you wield. I don't know, I played it a little bit, it's been a while, but it didn't capture me like most MMOs. It's not my art style, not my type of gameplay. It's like a fun like game you can play. There's no auto, I think, and I think there was maybe auto battle, but no auto questing. But I'm gonna put this on meh. Next one is Rebirth Mobile. Now Rebirth Mobile was, I think, came out in 2019, and it has everything that an MMO has on mobile. Open world PvP, has 4 classes like the typical. There's no like healer types, there's no Holy Trinity, guilds, solo and co-op dungeons. The nice thing about it is there's no level cap on it, so you can grind as much as you want, and it's really easy to get to level 100 and just like just keep it. It has no level cap, so you can keep grinding, which is really unfortunate for like new players to catch up. because you can see these people at high levels, and since there's no level cap, it might be like a demotivation to be actually catch up in this game. It has mountain pets. Pets can help you in combat, but I don't like it. It is gender locked when it comes to classes, and overall it's just a meh game. It has like everything in an MMO. There's nothing like unique with it, anything like that. Next one is Toram. Toram is also a really old game, came out in 2015. I haven't played too much of Toram. I know a lot of people that played, and they told me like it is like open world MMO. It has the story is really good in this. If you guys like story-based MMOs, definitely check it out. It is grindy, which I really like. MMOs, some people might like it on mobile, but I like it. However, it is point-to-click, which is super unattractive on mobile. Like I can accept RuneScape being point-to-click, but I don't like that's it. Like I can't like take point-to-click. You need that joystick. So I would not sure where to put it. I'll put it on decent. Forum is like a decent game, but there's no classes, so you can like, it depends on your build and your skills, which I really like. But it has a lot of players. I think it's still pretty active to this day. It has a good loyal player base. So decent. And then last but not least, we have Aura Kingdom. And Aura Kingdom, unfortunately, came out pretty recently. Came out in 2020. Lost a lot of, like, I didn't like it has auto play, auto quest, like gacha type game mechanics. It's just like, I don't know, it's like they don't try. Like Aura Kingdom and Eternal Swordem, and it's just like everything is the same. Like there's nothing unique with it, and that's why it's going on meh. That is my tier list, guys. On good, I want to add more games to it, but these videos become super long. But I am down to put down to make more of these. I'm sorry, it's been like I've been talking for 1 hour and I forgot to fill my water bottle, so I'm a little dry in my throat. But tier list is done. On the good, we have RuneScape Old-School and we have Village of Heroes. RuneScape Old-School is, again, from PC. It's a really, like, there's no pay to win, it's free to play. It's a lot of things you can do in it. Depends on what you like. Good PvP, good PK, whatever you call it. It is tap to move, which is the thing I don't like, but it has everything else. And it's really old graphics, which I don't like. But it's a really good game. You won't be finding any bugs or glitches with it. It's really fun to play if you can get into it. Village of Heroes, good. Fun, grindy game. There's no autoplay. Decent plus, you have COL, Willow Kings, and Era of Legends. Raid-based game, super fun raids. Fun experience. Era of Legends has fun PvP. Adventure Quest 3D, Celtic Heroes, and Decent Plus. Really grindy, old school type game. Super enjoyable if you guys don't like autoplay. Decent, I have Oracle's Classic. It's a long list. I'm not gonna mention the decent list, but that is my tier list of games to play in 2020. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys agree with me, let me know in the comments. If you guys disagree, let me know in the comments. If you guys want me to add more games or more games to play that I can check out and see for myself how they are before I give my opinion, let me know. I really enjoy. I'm actually looking forward to a proper MMO. I'm looking for Warhammer Odyssey, Project Odin, Diablo Immortal. I'm looking forward to these games. Hopefully they can make a unique game. I love games that have good PvE, are super polished, and are not too pay to win. And most of the games does not deliver on that. All of the MMOs recently just bad, the same type of game, unfortunately, and it's just like I feel like they don't try when it comes to MMOs, especially these games like down here. So like these Eternal Swordem, Aura Kingdom 2, even like Blade and Soul, like they're new games and they don't have anything unique. It just feels like the same game, like they just copying all the other games before them. But this is my tier list. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys like and subscribe if you haven't. Turn on notifications. Follow my social, guys. I will see you guys. Bye bye.